Have you been posting to YouTube with little to no success? Here are 5 mistakes that you're likely making on YouTube, and I'm gonna show you how to fix them. And at the end of this video, I'm gonna share with you a critical tip that will help translate your YouTube success to business growth. YouTube is a system that allows you to upload as many videos as you want, but that means you shouldn't be uploading just your Zoom calls, random meetings, or anything that really doesn't let your ideal audience or viewer know that they can come to you as the go-to resource for what it is that you sell or what you provide a service for. So mistake number 1 is just literally uploading everything that you do in your company to YouTube. So what this could look like is uploading an entire Facebook live stream. This is a huge mistake, not because it's poor content, but because it's really not developed for how people consume content on YouTube. What I actually would recommend that you do is maybe cut out bits or portions that make sense to what somebody would be searching for, or that's relevant to your company's message or brand. We actually have a fantastic video that talks about repurposing content down in the description. Be sure to check that out for more details. Another piece of content that I usually see people posting on their channel that they probably shouldn't is going to be ad or promotional content. It's fine if you are sharing some of what you have for sale or what services that you offer. Those pieces should be on your channel to let people know what you have, but every video has a job to do. The best form of content that your channel should have a ton of is that education-based content. It makes it easier for people to go to you as a go-to resource. So the job you want your educational content to do is to be service-centered, and when educational content is doing that well, it's educating people on maybe not just how to create a Facebook ad, but how you service them by doing it for them. If that actually leads me into mistake number 3, thinking about how people would really research. Most marketers don't do this, and this is where you're going to be different. So the way that most marketers make this mistake is when they get to the point of titling the video, they type it as the expert. Always remember to title your videos as the viewer. Some great ways that you can really start to get the language of your viewer is ask them, share a poll. If you have over 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, you can have access to the community tab, and while they're there, they can click yes or no or reply back and tell you exactly what they're looking for. Another great way that you can begin to optimize the ideas or the library of content that you're thinking to create is to go and look at actual comments on existing YouTube channels. I love to do this because this helps to identify the exact language that your potential viewer and the person you want to subscribe is actually using. Some great resources that you can use are some free and paid options. I love to start with the actual Google search bar. When you begin to type in this, it'll start to predict to you the way that people are searching. Also, other familiar tools are Google Trends, and those are fantastic. And then you have other YouTube specific optimization tools like vidIQ and TubeBuddy. So if you're just getting started, consider maybe one of the paid options if you want a little bit of a boost. So with that in mind, you're going to have your optimized video topic and idea that you can actually now start recording content for. However, that leads me into my 4th mistake that a lot of marketers make around about this part, and that's confusing messaging. If you're doing individual videos that are just randomized about things that you think the viewer wants to see, that may not be super helpful. If they found your Facebook ads video, their expectation when they click over to your channel is hoping that they find more videos just like that. However, when they get over to your channel, if they see a header that doesn't quite fit, or they're finding these Zoom calls that are 3 hours long, family vlogs, and other irrelevant videos that aren't specific to serving them, they're going to leave. Really considering what's the next logical question that they may ask so that you're creating videos that they want to watch and consume and eventually subscribe to. And another way that they really will click on it is if the thumbnails speak to them, and that leads into mistake number 5, not really great looking thumbnails. And it's not that they aren't beautiful looking or it's not a pretty picture, it's the fact that it's not optimized for how the viewer expects to find that information in search. So when they search how to create a Facebook ad and they just see a random screenshot from a Zoom call, they really aren't interested in clicking on that. Let's say the video title is how to create a Facebook ad. Think about the expectation that the viewer has when they're searching for that. A complimentary text that could go on the thumbnail might say something like wasting money on Facebook ads, and really think about the expression of your face that may be on there. It could speak to that frustration that the viewer is having. Things like that really make people want to click on your thumbnails. I said early in the video I would give you a little bit of something, and here it is. And that's making sure that there is a win-win for both you and your company as well as for the viewer. Let's say you are making a video titled how to create a Facebook ad. ad, and you're actually going to lead them into a free offer. You want to think about what is something that they may want and start to plug that throughout the video. Maybe you offer a free guide. What this looks like in the example in your recorded video is you're giving them 3 tips that may be in the video. By tip number 1, maybe tip number 2, you're saying, now this is just a small portion of what I actually go into in depth in the guide, and if you want access to that, the links are in the description. That's just an example of some verbiage that you can use so that the viewer knows, yes, I'm going to be serviced here, but yes, I also may want to go and get this free guide because I'm absolutely loving the content that I'm getting here. When you do this with your videos as well as with your content, you start to acquire leads for your company, and that way it's a win-win for the viewer and for you. So we've been talking a lot about mistakes that marketers are making, and one of those is not properly repurposing the live streams or really making clickable thumbnails that actually work. So we actually have an entire playlist on what you need to do to properly repurpose your live stream specifically for YouTube, in addition to how you can really know if your thumbnails are really working for you so you're not spinning your wheels. If you click on one of those videos, I'll see you in the next one.